Hey folks, Patdees here. Welcome to my channel, The Traveling Picker. I've been meaning to actually make this video for about a week, but I have been busy. And honestly, and the subject is let's talk taxes as a reseller. I made the thumbnail you could see here last week, and we're going to talk about it. I just got home from Atlantic City actually, and I had seen briefly that Taco Stacks, who's a friend of mine, put his up, and I started watching him some, and I'm like, well, Pat, you got to get yours out there before. So I didn't. I wanted to. I started watching his about 2 or 3 minutes, and I didn't want my video to be skewed at all by anything that anybody else said, because when I made this, had the intentions of making this video, I wanted to make it really from my background and my perspective on taxes. And I've been doing in business for 20 years now, in restaurant business, and I always considered myself a hobbyist before, as far as eBay. There was several years, actually there was a couple of years I didn't almost sell nothing on eBay. I would do that from time to time. I would go almost a whole year and not sell nothing, because I didn't have nothing listed. I was more of a buyer. And there was years, I remember back in 2006, was it 16? Well, I think so, roughly. I sold around $26,000, and obviously because of getting the tax, the form, from PayPal, I had to report, it was over $20,000. But everybody needs to fully understand anything, any profits or any income over $600, you have to report. And let me tell you, you do not want to pay taxes late. I have personally paid taxes late in my business, having employees, and the penalties and the interest are huge, and it hurts your credit. And so now, with that being said, and then what I'm going to talk about today, I am not a licensed tax advisor. I am not a CPA. Have I done TurboTax before in the past? Yes. Am I? The knowledge that I've gained doing taxes, having multiple employees. When I say multiple, I had 800 employees on the payroll over 17 years. So I have paid out wages, FICA, all that stuff. What I'm going to talk about today is really not concerning any employees, and more so, as I think about this, what I am talking about, I would advise anybody that doesn't understand taxes, not doing TurboTax, is hire a CPA. Because nowadays, I've noticed, years ago, you used to be able to get the TurboTax for $50 to $100. Now, it's $150, $200. You can find yourself a good tax preparation person or CPA in your area, typically, that can do that sometimes for around the same money, depending upon how complicated. Now, if you start getting into, if you're a landlord, you have stock sales and depend a lot of things like that, then obviously to do your taxes is going to be a lot more money. But what I'm going to do is kind of prepare, is going with, and I'm going to show some examples up when on graphics when I do this, that basically what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go over my tax return, and I think this year we had to have it done by June or July. I know we didn't have it done by April because they gave an extension, and I back in earlier this year had asked the CPA that I hired this year, who's an old school friend, to file an extension to do it for October 15th. And that was another reason why I didn't get around to doing a video, because I was down there, and my CPA lives about an hour away, so me and my wife had to drive down there, meet at the office, and really just go over all the folder of documents that we had. And that's when you're going there, you want to go prepared, and you fully want to understand really what's deductible and what's not, and preparing yourself for business and taxes. So where I'm going to start off is in some of my our company is set up as an LLC. Now, we just did change it earlier this year. It is a partnership. Another family member is involved in the business now, so it is a partnership and stuff like that. So the platforms that we sell currently on are Amazon and eBay, and we actually have just this year though have sold on Facebook Marketplace, and also have sold on YouTube auctions and stuff like that. So to me, I like to break them down. What am I selling on Amazon? What am I selling on eBay? What am I selling on YouTube? What am I selling on Facebook Marketplace? And anything. I don't sell on, there's lots of platforms to sell on. There's Etsy, Poshmark, Macari. Maybe there's different things that you're selling. And if you want to break it down to what I like about Amazon, for example, last year the total that was brought in showed the sales tax. So I don't have to file an individual sales tax form. It shows every month what the sales tax was. Amazon collects the sales tax and pays it to the appropriate state in where the item is delivered. That's one thing you don't want to mess with, is sales tax. Now, as we start selling more things online, it's getting more complicated. eBay is collecting sales tax. Facebook, we're not. Facebook, I guess, right now just assumes that a lot of the stuff that we're selling on there is personal items, where it's not more like a business. But you have to be careful, because you better understand, because if you get audited, and what happens is, with the state Department of Revenue does the sales tax, you could be liable plus penalty for that. In the state of Pennsylvania, where I'm from, it's 6%. So if you do $10,000, you could be out of $600 plus the penalties and interest. And typically when that happens, so if they audit you and said, hey, you should have collected $600 in sales tax, or filed a number, this is why you need a CPA, because that $600 tax bill that you think you might owe could wind up being at least twice as much, sometimes it's 3 times as much, $1,200 to $1,800 in penalty. So if you're selling things and you only making 12 or 50, basically there goes your profit. So if it's something that you're only selling a couple times, you got boots up in your attic and stuff like that, and it's under it's $300-400, there's no need. Again, though, I am not a licensed CPA. I am not an advisor. I'm telling you from my experience what I do, and I fully try to understand instead of just throwing the papers in a box and giving it to the accountant, because the more you understand it, the more that you'll make better buys, you'll make better choices in running your business. So let's give you a little bit of a breakdown on the things that I deduct in my reselling business, and you can too. The first thing, and I'm going to go in the order that I have it written down here, is ads. Ads, meaning I run an ad on Facebook for something as far as what I'm selling on eBay. I may pay to promote that ad. I may pay to do something on YouTube or Google. So ads, if you're paying for any type of ads, a lot of times on Facebook Marketplace, for example, if you list a car down, anything really, it says, do you want to boost the ad? It's $5. You can deduct that. You just need to keep track of what, you never should be mixing personal money and business money. They don't really like you to do that. The next thing is the car. I currently take the mile deduction. Now, let me give you a clue. Last year, with the reselling business and running around in 2020, and I say last year because we're almost done with 2021. I just want you to fully understand the information I'm putting out there today is in relation to my taxes in the reselling business for 2020. I deduct business miles. I put on 22,000 over 800 shops, stops, postal, UPS, but I did shop like 800 stores over the course of last year. Now, also keep in mind, I do Instacart. I only did it partially last year for a couple months, but still I keep track of those miles, and then I keep them separate. So I file 2 Schedule Cs, one for the grocery delivery and one for the reselling business. I don't deduct because there is no car payment on there, and which is better because the miles are better. Contract labor. Contract labor is basically someone that you may use to list or just do anything that doesn't require a set schedule. If you require them a set schedule, and you say to them, hey, I expect you to be here at 8 o'clock, they are considered an employee. And then that's where it brings a whole nother issue in is having to have a payroll set up, paying FICA, paying all that. Contract labor is a 1099. Basically, what I am with Instacart is a 1099. They don't set my schedule. I can shop whenever I want. If there is a customer or the demands there to deliver to, then I take it. If not, I don't have to take it. I'm not being forced. So depreciation is basically items that you buy that you could depreciate, such as your computers, your printers, your cameras, things like that. Now, part of what I do, and another form of my income for me doing YouTube is Google. Now, I last year had made approximately $1,400 doing YouTube, so roughly about $120 a month. Now, that's where also ads comes into play, because I make donations to other channels. In a sense, I advertise on my channel, or if I've only ever promoted, I think, one video, and that wasn't even last year, and I spent $100. And to me, that was a total waste, but that's a different story. But, you got to keep detailed books. I have my Google AdSense it comes into my account, and I keep track of those things. And so if I buy a new microphone or computer, I do a lot of reselling from my phone. I list eBay, and because Amazon, I scan and I obviously do an Instacart, so my phone is deductible as far as that. Office expense could be stamps. It could be that I would probably put in the shipping department, but it could be paper, markers, a pen. Let's say you buy a bulletin board or a whiteboard to put up on the wall to keep track, hey, how many listings, those are the type of things. Taxes and license might be something that, for example, if you have a shop, me currently, I work out of our house, so we don't have that. But if you have, for example, if you have a little warehouse and you need a special license, things like that. Meals are basically meals that I purchase for myself while I'm out sourcing, and so if I stop for lunch and I go through Wendy's, and you got to write that down, meal. Now, I've been told, and I've never broken the rule, is keep it within reason. I think my meal deduction this year was $300. So really, when you figure that out, that's less than $6 a week. Don't abuse it. I've been told by the accountant before, which I don't. So as long as you're basically, or if you meet at Olive Garden and you're talking, have a meeting with someone talking about Amazon, again, don't abuse it. Don't do $5,000 in business and say that you ate $5,000 worth of meals. So, cost of goods, COG. Cost of goods is basically the stuff that you're purchasing. So if you're purchasing from Walmart, if you're purchasing wholesale, if you're purchasing from auctions, that typically can be, as far as reselling, one of your largest expenses. So keep track of that. I used to even break it down. I have it in there, but I used to even be able to tell you exactly what store I bought from. Where it's percentage-wise. Let's say I buy 12% from Walmart, 10% from Kmart, 8% from, Home Depot, 2% from auctions, 2% from, even if you go to the flea market and you buy something and you're paying cash, keep a little notebook, put a little note, and you're selling it, because I do sell on eBay also. Put a little notebook and hey, I got $5, I spent $5, $3, $4. Honestly, I know it sounds petty, $2, $3, $4, $5. And you can, if you coordinate it the time that you list it, if you're the type of person that's keeping track, and then you're not even listing it, at least you can tie that all in together. Like, hey, look, I bought a lunchbox for $4. I sold it 2 weeks for, $20. So, materials and supplies. Materials and supplies for me are basically shipping supplies. So boxes, bags, and tape. So anything that's labels would be perfect. Some people maybe put their labels under office expense. I get it. I put my those are all shipping supplies. PayPal fees, if you're the 2.7%, keep track of that. Obviously, because PayPal charges 2.7%. I got another. Hold on here. I want to pull out my tax return. I have another expense listed down here. Phone and internet, obviously pretty simple. What is it costing you to pay for your phone? If you didn't have your phone, you would use, obviously I use my phone a lot with Amazon, eBay, and when I'm shopping. That's what I have. I couldn't read my own writing on my note there. Bank fees. Bank fees would basically, if you open an account and you don't get free banking and it costs you $10 to have your bank account, overdrafts, things like that. Interest, maybe you go to Walmart and you're buying $4,000 worth of clearance and you're not paying it all off at first. Maybe you paid it off over 4 months, as long as there's no personal items on that card. The interest. So that's the bank fees. My Amazon breakdown for me, and there was 5 categories, and I broke it down into really good detail as far as what the I get paid every 2 weeks on products that I sell on Amazon, and the breakdown to me was shipping, which was my largest expense, believe it or not. Refunds, stuff that I've had to refund. FBA fees, those are storage fees for items that are stored into Amazon's warehouse. Amazon's fee, whether I do FBM, which I do sometimes, and or what bottom line is basically what they charge. And other is I'm not quite sure what other was. It was a small amount. My other was $153.67. It could be some sort of I think what it is, other is basically, and I'd have to dig into it. I didn't dig into it too much, would be sort of like if they had to label something or if they had to put it in a bag. And then promo rebates. Promo rebates are things that they charge me for. So again, that one I didn't look real deep into too, because for me it was only $100. My biggest expense was Amazon and shipping. That made up, honestly, for my business, it made up about 40%. Shipping and Amazon made up about 40% of my expenses. I'm looking at my Google earnings, and it gives the breakdown. And basically what I did is I went with an Excel spreadsheet to my accountant, and I broke it down what my FBA sales were, how many orders, how many units fulfilled by Amazon, in case you don't know what FBA is, and then FBM was fulfilled by merchant, how many units, and then both, and then Amazon gave me some shipping credits, and the sales tax and the total, and then what I did on YouTube auctions, which wasn't much because I only did last year, I think 3. That wasn't a whole lot. And YouTube auctions for me, typically when I sell, a lot of times I just do them to kind of hang out and create cash flow. Sometimes to sell some things that I have excess of that I am willing to sometimes sell just to get my money back. And Facebook Marketplace, I didn't sell nothing on last year. I did this year. And that's where I got to kind of, when I'm talking about this with you, is I got to talk 2020. 2020 for Amazon was huge for me. Was probably 98% of my business when eBay was only 2%. Now this year it's starting to be that eBay's getting bigger. I'm starting to do more things on eBay, and so I had an Excel spreadsheet that I went there. I don't deduct the office expense only because it's a little bit complicated, and for the amount that it's worth, it's just not even worth it. And then when you go to sell your place, you some of that gives back and things like that. I start my starting inventory, ending inventory. Some CPAs, depending upon how complex they want it, you give basically the value that you paid for the stuff. But that's pretty much it. It's really important to make those are basically reseller notes as far as being a reseller, but it's really important to make sure you're finding the opportunities that do exist being a reseller. Being a reseller is a business, doing YouTube is a business if you're getting AdSense, and that you're keeping track of those expenses and then trying to find the best ways to maximize paying the least amount legally in taxes. You know, maybe you participate, you set yourself up an IRA, a Roth IRA, or you have other things to offset some of your reselling income. Some people, like myself, in the past, I've been a landlord, so there's deductions. You know, some of those different things. Taxes are so complicated for so many people in so many different ways, and depending upon the scale that you're doing or what you're doing, not everything that I say may work for you. But I'm just trying to give you an idea of what I do. This was my folder this year. For you know, it's probably, honestly, 45 pages with the tax return and stuff. You know, everything that's going as far as now. Next year I'll be a little bit. I'll have mine done earlier because I'm really in tune to what's going on and what I'm doing. As far as tax returns, I learned a lesson the hard way, because in the restaurant business I got behind, and when you get behind, the penalties and the interest will kill you, and everything I talked about in reselling, we don't have employees, so when you start getting into that beast of having employees, it really can be complicated, and then you need to be, instead of talking your CPA maybe a couple times a year, or and one solid time at tax time, maybe you need to be talking to them once a month so that you can adjust, because a lot of times people don't realize you could have a good business, let's say doing $10,000 a month in reselling, and you have listers and have employees and stuff like that, and until you start paying workman's comp and FICA and so, all this stuff, before you know it, the profits are gone, and you really need to understand margins and all that stuff. But that's another topic to talk about, understanding margin, sourcing, things like that I'll touch in the future and share my personal experience. I just want to talk about taxes and reselling. I'm glad they're done for a year. It's another stress off, and I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Taco Stacks for kind of reminding me that I need to talk about this, and I'm going to finish. If you get a chance, go over to Taco Stacks and tell him that Patdees sent you, and informative video or whatever. I'm gonna go over there and watch him. He has been doing it for years, also in the reselling community and doing YouTube. So everybody thinks, oh, you're making all this money and doing all this stuff, but you got to get your taxes right, and you got to everybody's got to pay taxes that makes over $600, and that is going to be a new thing for many people starting next year, because they'll be getting those forms, which I don't understand why they weren't getting the forms before, because myself being self-employed for so long, I knew it was. So I was doing it without even getting eBay. I was doing it on my own, because I didn't ever want them to question, hey, you had X amount come to your bank account, this and things like that. Why? Where's the taxes? They want their cut. So always keep that in mind. What I'm interested to learn is how our other websites such as Etsy, Mercari, and sales tax is being handled, and because if you remember, for years there was no sales tax collected. It's relatively new in the last couple of years that legislation has been passed in, I think, all the states for to be collecting sales tax, because it gave an unfair advantage to brick and mortar stores. Gave an unfair advantage to online sales against brick and mortar stores. So hey guys, I appreciate your support. I appreciate watching. I am Patdees. If you guys give me thumbs up, comment below. If I can help anybody, just talk, chit chat about it. I do appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.